Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new edition of Outlook, the foreign political program of Ludovika television. If you recall, a couple of days ago, we had an interview with Balázs Tárnok, a member of the Ludovika community who is now doing research and studies in the United States with the help of the Hungary Foundation. Today we are going to discuss Hungary through American eyes with Mr. Ryan Brockhaus, who is a senior fellow of the same foundation's program, the Hungary Foundation's program called Budapest Fellowship Program. Welcome to the studio through still internet connection, dear Ryan. And I'd like to tell a few words about you, just to introduce you to our viewers. You are from the state of Arizona, and now you are earning at home your master's degree in security and global defense policy. But you decided to become a senior fellow of this Budapest Fellowship Program because I understand you have an interest in Central European, Hungarian security and defense policy. So my question is, what brought your attention to our region and why did you apply for the program?
Yes. Well, first off, thank you very much for having me. My interest, not only with Hungary, but with Central and Eastern Europe, began many years ago. I grew up in a military family. My father was in the Air Force. I'm 37 years old now, so I was 5 or 6 years old when the Berlin Wall came down, and we were actually stationed at the time in West Germany. So at a very young age, I had an interest not only in Central and Eastern Europe, but a lot of the former Warsaw Pact countries. And that's only grown through the years. As I returned back to school and got a bachelor's degree in global studies, the history, the culture, the customs and traditions of Hungary and Central and Eastern Europe grew within me. And I actually had an opportunity in the fall of 2019 to do a semester abroad for the last semester of my bachelor's degree, to go to Corvinus University in Budapest. And my experience there was amazing. So much so that I desperately wanted to return in some capacity. This opportunity through the Budapest Fellowship Program and the Hungary Foundation came up in May of 2020. And after deep consultation with my family, we decided to move out and apply and eventually obtain this fellowship position here. So it really has been a dream of mine to return and really become fully inculcated into the Hungarian society and learn more about Hungary's traditions, customs, cultures, and then also with the defense capacity as well.
Your mentor is Balázs Martonfi, head of the American Research Institute here at Ludovika. During the pandemic, surely it was difficult to meet people and have just a full-time research program. But what could you really concentrate on while working in Hungary?
Well, the good thing is that we have this outlet here where we can meet online through video conference. And a lot of the research has been in some capacity of face-to-face conversations with people who are deeply involved in the Hungarian defense industry, within the Hungarian Defense Forces. And that's really where a lot of the knowledge gathering really came about, through direct contact and conversations with individuals within that realm. And then additionally, there's also a lot of material out that can be translated into English language that I had been able to do. And then with the Hungarian Defense Forces Modernization Program called ZRINI, that's been underway for the last few years, there's a lot of material out there that we can look over, come over, really digest, and kind of get a better understanding of what this research entails and the overall relationship between the United States and Hungary in a defense capacity.
It's really interesting for us to understand how an American sees our security and defense preparedness, and also how you would comment on what you just mentioned, American-Hungarian defense cooperation.
Sure. Well, as an American, it's important for us to understand, and was very important for me to understand throughout the duration of this program, that Hungary and the United States, even though Hungary is a member of the European Union, we're both members of the Transatlantic Alliance and NATO, that interests at times diverge. For the United States, this is a country that's across the Atlantic Ocean. It's a continental power, 330 million plus people that live in the country. It has a more global outlook on a lot of things, especially strategically speaking and geopolitically speaking. On the flip side, you have Hungary, a country with a population of 9.7, 9.8 million people. It's known as a middle-sized country within the European Union, smack dab in Central Europe in the Carpathian Basin. So its outlook and its strategic imperatives, if you will, are going to be more focused regionally. You know, you have the powers, the Slavic, historical Slavic civilizations to the east, the Turkic and Ottoman civilization to the south, the Germanic civilization to the west and north. So what I've learned is Hungary is sort of a civilization in and of itself. If you look at its language, its culture, its history. So it's only natural for Hungary's main objectives, main outlook on the world to be focused a little bit more regionally than globally.
Mm-hmm. I read from you somewhere, I think on the homepage of the Hungary Fellowship Program, that you hope to get a better understanding in general, besides your research focus, a better understanding of Hungary. So how do you see this? Did you manage to understand us Hungarians better, the general Hungarian culture? We have this obsession in Hungary that we are always curious about how we are seen in the outside world.
Yeah. So from what I've gathered through this experience is that your history, the Hungarian history, is deeply rooted in the society today. And it has to be. This is, again, an area, the Carpathian Basin, that has a lot of history of invasions, outside invaders. So your perception of the world and the perception of yourself as well is shaped through that historical experience. This is something that's very different compared to the United States. And I think Americans, before they come here, have a tough time grasping that. So when Americans come here and they spend enough time here, it does come as a surprise. Learning the Hungarian history, learning the language, learning the defense policies. It's all reflective of kind of that historical experience that you guys have had. So for me, when I mentioned getting a better understanding of Hungary, it's exactly that. Learning more about its history and learning through that history of why the Hungarian mentality is what it is.
With this knowledge already acquired during these 9 months and your previous stay, do you think you will keep contact with Hungary in your professional or in your private capacity? And would you recommend this program, the Budapest Fellowship Program, to other Americans to apply for?
Yes, without hesitation. This has been an amazing experience. All things considered, given the COVID situation that we've had in 2020 and 2021, I would say roughly half of the program, unfortunately, was spent either on lockdown or under curfew, where we had to do a lot of distance learning and distant contact. So although that was unfortunate, it was still something that we had to do. There was not a lot to complain about because the overall experience has been amazing. As far as my capacity and my interest for Hungary, even after I returned to the United States, it is always a priority for us moving forward that we, on maybe a private capacity, we come and visit every year. My wife, my son, our 8-year-old son, and myself have fallen in love with not only the country of Hungary, but Budapest as well. So that is our plan moving forward, every year that we would come back and visit in some capacity. On a more professional measure, the goal for me, once I'm completed with my master's program in global security at Arizona State, is to go to Washington and then somehow find my way within the US government to become a policy analyst. My objective over these, however long this is, it could be years, is to work towards formulating, I would consider, proper American policy towards Hungary, and eventually find ways in which we can further this relationship in a positive direction between the two countries.
Ryan Brockhaus, we wish you all the very best for your future and hope to welcome you back to the Ludovika community. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.